So hi guys, how are you doing? My name's Ben Jones and today I'm going to be talking you through my placement that I had at IBM. I'm going to be talking about some of the challenges that I had. I'm going to be talking about some of the successes and give you some hints and tips on how to do well on placement. So when I started looking for a placement, I looked at lots of different companies, and I'm dyslexic and some of the psychometric tests were quite difficult for me. But I applied to lots of different places, and in the end I got into IBM partly due to the work that I was doing as a student ambassador. So when I was doing my course, I do marketing at Bournemouth. But when I was doing my course, I also worked part-time as a student ambassador. I got some really helpful experience. I did a bus tour. I was presenting at different schools, and IBM really liked this experience for the role in which I went into, which was talent marketing. So talent marketing is all about how can we attract placement students, grads, and senior hires into IBM. And we do this through events, which was part of my role. So I did UK events, and I actually did the social media account for employee brand in the Middle East and Africa. And that was, a massively fun role, creating different posts, working with different people, something, I really, really enjoyed. However, while I was at IBM, I did have a couple of challenges, and one of these was managing my workload. So when I was trying to start in the organization, I worked really hard. I tried to get things done as soon as possible when people asked me, and I wouldn't really say no to anyone because I just wanted to, make the best impression. And although this is a good mentality to have, I did start to become overworked, and I had to talk to my line manager. And one of the things that we talked about was prioritization. So who is your main stakeholder? Obviously, my line manager, I need to do the work for her before I start doing the work for other people, but also managing people's expectations. So if somebody asked me to do a bit of work, I then talk to them about when does this need to be done by. If it needs to be done by Wednesday, I talk about my workload and if I can do that, or if I can't, somebody else that might be able to do it. And when I started having these conversations, I really started to, enjoy my experience more because my workload was manageable. I also used the calendar and Trello, and Trello's like sticky notes to basically when somebody was asking me something in a call or asking me to do something, I'd put it on my Trello board and then I wouldn't forget. So that was something that I found was massively helpful. In terms of doing a placement, I think it's a great opportunity for anyone and I would highly recommend it. The reason being is because I just think it makes you more employable. It gives you some great experience. Like I organized a 4,000 person event. And the stand on the 4,000 person event for IBM, and the event was called Women in Business. And this is something, that I could talk in my CV, and it gives me some great things to talk about when having an interview with somebody. But also by going on placement, you learn skills that you might not think you need to know, like how to construct a professional email, how to have a conversation with somebody who's a lot more senior in the organization, and how to work effectively in a large team. All things that I learned while I was at IBM. So ultimately, I think placement just gives you an experience that university can't, but also you get to put into practice what you learn at university, which is massively helpful. In terms of future employment, I think, I've been lucky enough to been offered a role back at IBM. And part of that was because of my networking. So I networked with a lot of people in the organization, and this helped me to build people who were, giving me references, who were talking to people when I did apply, and basically putting in a good word for me, which was helpful to then get into the technology consultant role that I'll be starting in July. And that's really helped me with my future plans because now I'm going to do this technology consultant role and hopefully in the end go into sales within IBM, which is the area that I want to go into. But being a consultant, you're working with clients, so you're gaining the same skills. So anybody who's looking to do a placement, like I say, I'd recommend it. Anybody who's looking at going into, a large organization, definitely apply. What I recommend is that you look around at the companies that you're applying for. You make sure that you understand, what their key products are, what their key values are as an organization. It will help you when you're in the interview stage to talk more effectively around the organization that you've applied for and why you want to work for that company. But also companies will usually have certain characteristics that they're looking for in people that they are trying to get into the business. And this is something that I'd recommend. So at IBM, we've got the 139 principles, which is certain values that we're looking for anybody that applies. So that could be a really helpful tip in terms of making your application form link to some of those values. So anyway, I hope this video has been helpful. I hope you have a great placement. And yeah, the main thing is just enjoy it, be authentically yourself, and you'll do well. Cheers, guys.